All right, meanwhile, in South Carolina, a new poll shows former President Trump leading Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in the Palmetto State. In the hypothetical South Carolina primary poll that was released today by National Public Affairs, Trump leads DeSantis by 23 points. You can see there former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott trail far behind. Trump is the front runner. Whoever wins the Republican nomination will face a confident President Biden, who has in the past credited South Carolina, as we've been saying, for reviving his campaign in 2020. But exactly how strong is Biden's grip on South Carolina this time around? I guess we'll all see soon. NewsNation's Kellie Meyer is live in Charleston, South Carolina, where she's been talking to voters there about the president. Hey, Kellie.
Hey there, Marnie. Well, it's a great question because obviously this is a largely conservative state in South Carolina, a red state. There's still a lot of support for former President Donald Trump here. But we sat down with the chairwoman of the South Carolina Democratic Party. They say they are out there on the ground talking with voters, and they say they are still 100% behind President Biden for his reelection bid. You know, he really drove out turnout when he was here in 2020, bringing out nearly 600,000 voters. Almost nearing the numbers that former President Obama had during the 2008 primary. He also had a great deal of support from African-American black voters here in the state. And they're hoping that with pushing South Carolina to be first out of the gate in 2024, that they say this will reflect more of what the rest of the country looks like with that diverse vote here in South Carolina. But it's also something that President Biden himself recommended. He wanted to see South Carolina go first. Obviously, it's no secret it's a state that he did very well in, as we said, but he faces some challenges here, not only with messaging, as we saw him going out there today in Chicago talking about Bidenomics, Biden economics, focusing on the economy issue there, obviously important in the state of South Carolina. But they're trying to have that catchy word to try to get across to voters what he's doing, because there is concern that some voters don't know what he's gotten done in his first term in office. There's also the question around his age, his physical and mental fitness. Around 68% of voters say this is something that's a concern for them about his age, his fitness, his mental fitness, as well as some of the slip-ups he's had. Just this morning, he mentioned he talked about that Putin clearly focusing on Iraq and not Ukraine. He mentioned Iraq instead of saying Ukraine there this morning and last night during a fundraiser. So some folks are focusing on these slip-ups as well. So we asked the Democratic South Carolina Party chairwoman about if this will be a factor for voters here in South Carolina. Take a listen.
No, I haven't heard that. You know, I just ran a race for chair myself, and my age came up, and I'm not an older woman, so I think that that's just kind of the smoke and mirrors that we get from folks who want to just take us, who don't want to see us be successful, you know, who don't want to see Democrats making progress. So I don't buy into that, and our voters aren't buying into that as well.
Marnie, I think what I'll be watching here in South Carolina going forward is this wild card of both the independent voters and cross-party conservative voters. We spoke with some voters who say they are independents, and that if it's a Trump and Biden rematch like we saw in 2020, that they are going to go third party, which can then cut into Biden's support. What also could cut into Biden's support is his challenger, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who we will have the town hall with tonight. Some conservatives say that if Trump or DeSantis don't win the Republican nomination, they could see themselves voting for RFK Jr. So that could also bite into Biden's support here in South Carolina. So really, a lot of things remain to be seen here.
Quite a lot to chew on. Kellie Meyer in Charleston. Kellie, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.